So this is going to be a showcase slash review video for the Storm Collectible Shao Kahn action figure with throne, and this is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. I saw a lot of other collectors collecting this nice set here, and Big Bad Toy Store had it in stock, and I said to myself, man, if I refuse to get it this time, it's definitely going to sell out again. So I decided to go for it, and it arrived safely. So this thing looks amazing. The best feature about this figure is that it has a removable helmet, and you can set the helmet aside on his throne like that. There's his face there. I'll zoom in on that. About that much. Man, I don't know where to begin. This figure is pretty huge, comes with quite a few good accessories, and I didn't even take these out of the plastic yet, but let's see if I can show it in the frame, if I could try. So, come on, focus, 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 there we go. Comes with 2 extra heads. One's grinning, the other one is a open mouth head of him shouting or yelling. Those hands, I believe, so there's like 3 sets of open palm hands. These ones pretty much just open palm hands for, I guess, when he's relaxing on the throne, but I thought these ones were more the relaxed hands when he's relaxing on the throne. I guess you could use either one. These ones are more of like a grabbing hands, so you can get them into some grabbing poses for combat. And pointing hands right there, so you can have either hand pointing. And of course he has closed fist gripping hands for his weapons. So I'll show a few of these off on the figure later on in this video. But going back to the Shao Kahn here, or Shao Kahn, not sure what's the correct pronunciation, but I say both. I say Shao Kahn and I say Shao Kahn, so I'm just going to say Shao Kahn for the rest of this video, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. So yeah, the accessories. I already showed off the heads and hands. Comes with his spear here. One normal spear, and he comes with a energy spear that I can't remember if he had it in MK2. I think he had it in MK3, but I haven't played those games in a very long time, so don't remember that fondly. But I do remember the hammer, which is resting on the side of the throne here. I'll show off that here. If I get my camera to focus on the hammer. There it goes. Okay. There's the famous MK Dragon logo on his hammer. Really cool handle there. Alright. So, I guess I can show off just throne next, but let's put the helmet back on him. There we go. Lift him off his throne. Put him in more in a standing pose. Now there's going to be a lot of squeaky joints. That's the first thing I notice on this figure. Joints are super squeaky, but I guess that means they're super tight. There we go. So when I received this package, the head, or well, the mask rather, or the helmet, was kind of like laying like that in front of his face, and I thought his head was completely detached, and I was like, oh no, did I get a defective one? But no, it was just the helmet. You can see the beautiful butterfly joints there on Shao Kahn. And I'll show off the back of this guy. Check that out. Really cool looking. I would have loved to get my hands on the original Shao Kahn, but he was just sold out everywhere, and from third-party sellers, the prices are insane, so I was like, yeah, no, I'll just go for the new MK9 Shao Kahn here. He looks like a beast. This is like the beast of all action figures here. He's awesome. Love it. Alright, so I'll show off a bit of the throne before I go into some of the articulated joints on this guy. Has some cool looking skulls hanging off some chains here. And two of these skulls look like they're the same size, but one of them is larger than the other ones. So let's see if I could just position the camera and I can show you guys a little bit better. There it is, okay. So yeah, this one right here, this guy is probably like the biggest size out of all three of these skulls right here, hanging off the side. And it's the same for both sides. As you can see, skulls and chains, and it's the same for this set right here, except there's two hanging skulls where the front part has three. And these parts, they did not come attached. They were kind of like loose in the box, so I just took them and just put them through that part of the throne for both sides here. And here, I'll zoom out a bit. That's what the back looks like. I would have preferred if they would have had some type of attachment to attach to the back of the throne for weapon storage. I think that would have been pretty neat. You know, storing the weapons back there like this. I mean, how cool would that be? That just makes sense to me. I don't know, maybe they could have, well, nah. I mean, they could have. I was just thinking maybe they could have attached something right here, but that would just ruin the, it would ruin the aesthetic of the throne. That's why I said, you know, they should make a separate attachment to put on here for the weapon storage. Also, this part here, this can actually detach from the base, so if I could do it, there it goes. That's what that looks like detached, and that's what the bottom of that part looks like. I mean, here you can't, no, there's not enough space for the weapons, but you could put the extra heads and extra hands in there for storage if you want to. Alright, so that just, there we go. Can fully attach quite easily. The horns were also detached. Those require some assembly. Super easy, but requires a little bit of force. I don't think I put the horns on all the way, but that's okay. Just in case if I need to store everything away back in the box, I can just easily pop these off and put it back in the plastic there. So it's really, really nice throne. And the cool thing about this throne is that you could just use it for just about any action figure. So, for example, let's say if I get the Mandalorian in here, 6.5 inches tall, and Shao Kahn here stands about 9, maybe 8.5 to 9. I'm gonna say 8.5. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, as I was saying, the awesome thing about this throne is that you can use it for just about any of your other action figures or model kits in your collection. This right here I have in my hands is a model kit. I just put it together today because I was bored and I have tons of model kits laying around. There you go. Have it zoomed in for you guys so you can see how awesome this looks with just about any action figure in your collection. At least any action figure that can, you know, sit down in a throne like this. And that was for a 6.5 inch figure, so you know, it could be used for about 5-inch figures, I would say, even though they might look a little bit small sitting in this thing. 7-inch figures might be a good scale with this throne. Also, where did I put my Marvel Legends Cyclops? Found him. Okay. Okay, so let's say if you want to use this with a Marvel Legends figure, like Cyclops here, yeah, scales just well. Alright, so I'm still going to show the different heads and some of the different hands. I don't think I need to show off all of them since a few of them are open palm hands. But before I get into that, I'll show off some of the articulation on this guy. So Can move at the waist. Is that ab? Wait, that's not an ab crunch though, right? Or is it an ab crunch? Not sure of the proper terminology, what to call that part there, but he can pretty much move all sorts of way at the waist. Yeah, no, that's not an ab crunch, right? Because ab crunch is when you have another articulated piece up in the ab section area, right? So, got those beautiful butterfly joints. And the arms pretty much can move as you would expect them to, forward and back, spread them out and inward like that. The upper bicep area does rotate. He does have double jointed elbows. If I could just get my camera to focus on that, as you can see there are double jointed at the elbows right there. And the wrist does rotate. Going down to the legs, very squeaky. But due to the skirt piece and maybe the way the joints are and under that skirt, maybe he's not going to have a perfect positioning going forward with the leg joints. They might spread out a little bit, but let's see. You go up pretty far. Yeah, good range of movement there. Check out the knees. Oh, the knees are double jointed. That's pretty cool. So let's see if I can get him in like a charging pose or something. That's pretty dope. You do is, you know, that cheesy, not cheesy, but that cheesing, rather, a cheesing move he did in MK2 and 3. Let's see, down to the ankles, so they do rocket and pivot and all that stuff. And also it has a separate cut there, so you can actually... Well, it's stiff on mine. I don't want to break it. I need to heat that up a lot more, but as you can see, there's a joint right there at the toes. Oops, out of focus. Sorry about that. But yeah, there's a joint right there at the toes, so you can move, or pivot, I should say. You can pivot the toes on both feet. And just to show off the head again with the helmet, as you can see, looks awesome. And the helmet is very soft plastic, so you don't have to worry about that breaking in case if you drop it on the floor and accidentally step on it. But I'll show off all around his beautiful head sculpt here. Very awesome, very cool. Alright, so now I'll show off the different heads and hands. So here's Shao Kahn with his grinning face, looking quite menacing, and this is his grinning head with the helmet on. Kind of difficult to tell he's grinning under that, but if I tilt him upwards, so you can kind of see under that mask there. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's almost about the same as with the neutral face, or the neutral head on there. But remove that, place it on his throne in the background, and there you go. Alright, up next is his shouting head. So that can just easily pop on. The thing I like about these alternate heads for these Storm Collectible figures, they are very easy to pop off and pop on. Unlike with most figures I had to deal with in the past, like let's say Marvel Legends or DC Multiverse. Seems a lot easier to do that with these Storm Collectible figures. But there he is, shouting Shao Kahn, ready for battle. And I can show you what that looks like with the helmet on. Place that on his head. Not too bad. Looks like a lot like the promotional artwork for MK9. It looks really cool. I think I like him a lot more with this head on his body, more than the grinning head and the neutral head. Alright, so now let's take a look at the different variations of the hands he comes with. So here's Shao Kahn with the first set of open palm hands. I guess these are more for poses like this, where it looks like he's, I don't know, explaining something, and he has his hands out like Hey, did I ever tell you about the time I did 1,000 fatalities on the entire Mortal Kombat roster? But yeah, at first I thought these were more of the relaxed hands for when he's sitting on his thrones, but I think that's not the next set I'm going to show, but the... Actually, no, this might be it. You can also use this for that too. Like if you just rotate his hands like this, right? And then you gotta get him in the sitting pose. Those squeaky joints. Yeah. So you could also use those for a relaxed pose as well, for him sitting on his throne. Alright, so now I'm gonna show you the next set of hands, which are more of like a... They look like they're in a grabbing pose, so I'll show you that right now. Alright, so I call these his grabbing hands because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like he's ready to grab his opponent or choke slam them, one of the two. So let's say if I bring back in Cyclops here, and you get a good sort of like a grip around Cyclops' neck, and just beat the crap out of Cyclops. Or like, he's coming in, getting ready to grab him, and Cyclops is like, no, get back! Optic blast! Optic blast! So yeah. Grabbing hands, that's what I call them. Alright, so I'll show off the next hands, which are the... I'm not sure what to call those. Those also look like relaxed hands as well. Here, I'll show them off right now. Alright, so these hands are somewhere between relax and grabbing, I guess? I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me, because, well, this is the grabbing hand I just took off that I just demonstrated a second ago, and let's show that off. They kind of look like they're almost open the same way, but there's, I don't know, there's a slight difference to them. But I think you can use these hands for either one, like, for combat, for grabbing other Mortal Kombat characters, or for sitting on the throne. So I'm gonna have to do this again and just rotate the hands, and yeah, you can use it for that as well. So it works either way. Alright, and now one of my favorites, and of course the most recognizable, the pointy hands. Alright, so there you go. I only decided to put one of them on instead of two of them on because it just made sense to me while he's sitting on his throne and he's, pointing at the combatants like, you weak, pathetic fool. And, you can rotate that. And, who doesn't remember the iconic point? Are you still trying to win? Alright, so I put his right gripping hand in so he can hold his hammer in that iconic pose where he's usually holding his hammer over his shoulder. And I kept one of the pointing hands in so you can see how cool this looks. I'll zoom in on that a little bit more. Looks really awesome. There we go. And I can show you what that looks like without his helmet. And his yelling face there, or yelling head. Right there. And put the helmet back on. Looks really cool, really cool. Alright, I'll just remove this like that, and then put this hand in. And I'll show you what I'm about to do. You can also maybe, whoops, knocked his own helmet off with the hammer. But yeah, maybe like this. Get him into sort of like a pose like this, where he's holding that hammer with the other hand. Like that. Put the helmet back on. Yeah, so you can have something like that. And this also works when he's in a sitting position. So he looks kind of like that. Maybe rotate the hammer so you can see more of the fingers on the other hand a little bit more. That's what it looks like as a whole. Now Shao Kahn is ready to take on the combatants with his energy spheres, which looks really cool. It was really easy to put through his gripping hand, And I put the other gripping hand on the other arm, so I can do stuff like this. Can have 2 spears in his hands. I mean, you could put it any way you want. Have a hammer in one hand and spear in the other. That's the cool thing about these figures. You can do whatever you want with them. Such as making cool poses like this. I think that looks pretty dope. And I'll zoom in on that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And maybe hold him out like that. Of course, I'll have to position his legs so he can balance. There we go. So there you have it. Shao Kahn, ruler of Outworld. Awesome Mortal Kombat figure from Storm Collectibles. Totally worth the money that I paid for it from Big Bad Toy Store. I was going to go for this figure before. Well, actually, I think I was going to go for the normal one without the throne, and it ended up selling out, but they restocked, and they had a variant that was mostly available in stock that was covered in blood. It had like blood stains all over the figure. But this one was a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive because it included this awesome throne piece that I just can't stop looking at. It looks amazing. Yes, you can also use his helmet on other action figures, but it's not going to look as cool. So Cyclops, Cyclops and Mandalorian is going to be my test dummies for this video. So that's what it looks like on Cyclops. As you can see, it looks silly. And if I want to put this on the Mandalorian, even though Mandalorian already has a helmet on his head, but you can do that with him, and actually, that looks kind of crazy. Crazy cool. I kind of dig it. Check that out. Mandalorian is now trying to be the ruler of Outworld. But yeah, it just looks silly because the helmet is a bit too big. Lots of hands, swappable hands. 3 heads, which is cool. You get 3 different weapons and this awesome throne for him to sit in, which is, I don't know what else I can say. Everything is awesome about the Shao Kahn figure. Alright guys, thanks for watching this showcase / review. I hope I covered everything good enough for you guys. See you in the next one. Stay awesome. Later.
Ha 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 ha!